good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today, we're going to continue with Sarah Bombranick's Simple Abundance, 365 Days to a Balanced and Joyful Life. March 5th, the thrill of thrift. I don't know a woman alive who doesn't get a thrill out of thrifting, finding the perfect item at the perfect price. But thrifting is so much more than a bargain bagged at a garage sale, flea market, or on eBay. For centuries, thrifting has been the heart of the homemaker's honorable estate and a sacred trust that included the right apportionment of her personal and domestic resources, time, creative energy, emotion, industry, strength, skill, craft, and labor. The management of property of all kinds, including money, the exercise of prudence and temperance, and the distribution of charity to those less fortunate. In other words, all those homespun virtues necessary to keep a family healthy, prosperous, and secure were contained in the heavenly boon of this one expansive word. But to truly understand the reassuring and redeeming spiritual qualities of thrift and how it balances our daily round, let's clear away all of the old hackneyed cobwebs that surround this marvelous quality. Let's begin with what thrift isn't: parsimonious, frugal, mean, scrimping, paltry, shoddy, stingy, or cheap. What thrift is: bountiful, generous, compassionate, vigorous, growing, abundant, blooming, copious, healthful, and efficient. Thrift is practicing the art of elegant economics such as gratitude, simplicity, order, harmony, beauty, and joy. Interestingly, all the 6 graces of simple abundance. Thrift is thriving, increasing, expanding, and plentiful. Through the artisanal craft of thrift, we become balanced in all areas of our lives. We can trace the role that thrift has played in the English household back to the 14th century bard Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales, as well as William Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice. Probably the earliest meaning of the word thrift was the condition of one who thrives, or being endowed with good luck, good fortune, wealth, and health. But what made thrift such an honorable aspiration was that its bounty was not conveyed by celestial benediction or favor of the crowned, but rather through the everyday choices made by prudent housewives who were neat, clean, industrious, imaginative, honest, clever, enterprising, and generous. Women who found the mystical and the mundane rituals of their daily round and cherished the bounty of their everyday. The invocation of thrift was considered as crucial to a bride's happy marriage as tossing rice, releasing doves, or wearing something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Beginning in the 16th century, English nuptials introduced the custom of the bride's father or guardian slipping a silver 6-pence coin into her left shoe as a harbinger of wealth and protection against want. The symbol of the 6-pence represented the reward due to those drawn to the honorable estate of matrimony. Intriguingly, thrift is also the name of a charming English flower, a pink perennial that blooms from April through September and flourishes in rocky crevices, requiring little soil for sustenance while acting as a barrier to protect marshes from the ebb and flow erosion of the sea. As a metaphor for our own goal of balanced and joyful lives, the metaphysical boundary of thrift protects us from the ebb and flow of emergencies. It enables us to create our own protective barrier to cushion us from want and distress through our savings, or what the Victorians called the margin of happiness. Isn't that a fabulous name? It makes you want to have one immediately. Without thrift, there can be little solid domestic happiness, the Pulitzer Prize-winning poet, essayist Phyllis McGinley tells us in her 6-pence in her shoe, written as an answer to Betty Friedan's groundbreaking The Feminine Mystique, published the year before. For thrift is neither selfishness nor cheese paring, but a large, compassionate attribute a just regard for God's material gifts. It has nothing in common with meanness and is different even from economy, which may assist thrift. Phyllis McGinley is a woman after my own heart. She loved being a wife, a mother, a homemaker, an author, and a poet. She reveled in combining all the facets of her daily round in her writing, working on her poems, essays, or books while in a pot of stew or soup simmered on the stove. And she saw no contradictions in combining all the aspects of her life into a tapestry of contentment. From meeting her husband's train to being celebrated at a White House reception for her work. In her inspirational essay, The Pleasures of Thrift, she describes how passionate thrift is the guardian of domestic bliss. Meanness inherits a set of silverware and keeps it in the bank. Economy uses it only on important occasions for fear of loss. Thrift sets the table with it every night for pure pleasure, but counts the butter spreaders before they are put away. As we learn how to create a sustainable lifestyle protected from life's storms, thrift saves for the future because the children must be educated and because one must not be a burden in old age, McGinley tells us. Thrift keeps the house painted and the roof in repair, puts shoe trees in shoes, bakes a jar of cookies for neighborhood children. It is never stingy. What I adore about McGinley's view of thrift is that it has to be a personal joy, that every woman must work out for herself. First, what are your authentic extravagances? The purchases that pinch a little, even as you pull out the plastic. Do you love to cook? Then quality knives, organic chickens, and virgin olive oil might be your affordable luxuries. But through your prudent meal planning, the chicken will stretch to 3 delicious suppers. That means the fresh baked sourdough bread accompanying your homemade chicken noodle soup doesn't have to come from your own kitchen. The thrill of thrift invites trade-offs, not trade-downs. Every woman has to learn to be thrifty in her own idiom. Her economies must be like her luxuries, cut to the shape of the family budget or the family dream, and they must never descend to indignities. Thrift implies dignities. Phyllis McGinley reminds us, it might lie for one person as a thing so small as properly balancing her checkbook, or for another in something so large as learning to make all the draperies for her windows. And, like laughter or sachets in bureau drawers, it is a pleasant thing to have around the house. I believe that once we approach thrift, not as a straitjacket of can't-haves, but as a homegrown remedy for contentment and creativity, this ancient art can boost our morale and increase our margin of happiness. And that, after all, is why we seek the sacred in the ordinary. I love that. So I like to do thrifting. I particularly like buying clothes that way. My favorite thing to do is to go to the Salvation Army when they have their half-off clothing sales, which are pretty much every holiday. And on those days, they open the stores early and they stay open later. And for me, it's a joy to be able to go through. Now, you really have to pick through a lot of the stuff to find the really good stuff, because there's some things that really aren't that great. But I've found so many amazing deals, brand new things with the tags still on them, and amazing finds on the racks. And to me, it makes me feel elated that I found this treasure and I was able to save, while doing it. So, what is it that you like to do that, some people might consider thrifty or even miserly? There are some people that think that, being thrifty is being miserly, but really it's not. It's just being smart about your resources. We have a finite amount of resources available to us at any given time. And that's not to say that they won't, we can't get more, but we need to conserve. We need to figure out how we can best prepare for our future. And, blowing money on a pair of shoes might not be the best way to go about it. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it, because if that's what you truly enjoy doing, then that's what you truly enjoy doing and you should. But, what is it that you enjoy doing? Like I said, I really love going and saving money shopping for clothes at the Salvation Army. It's one of my favorite things to do. I don't do it often, but, every once a year, I'll go through my wardrobe and I'll clear out things that I no longer wear, or that I've worn too much and, maybe a little threadbare, and I'll go and I'll pick up a couple new pairs of pants and a couple new tops. And, it just really makes me feel good. It gives me joy to go through all of the racks and, find a whole, and I'll have a whole basket full of clothes and go and try things on. And, it's almost like winning the lottery to me to find something that fits, that looks good, that is in reasonably good condition, um, when I'm going shopping at the Salvation Army. So, share in the comments what you do, that, is considered thrifty or that you might consider thrifty. Until tomorrow, I hope you have an amazing and blessed day.